Carlo Perusa, and I'm back with everyone's favorite East Coast gangster, Mr. Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. Jorge, we're in Orlando. We're getting ready for IKON FC6. Man, you've stacked this card. It is unbelievable. There's so many good fights. There's so many guys with experience, guys who've been in the PFL, guys who have fought Contender Series, UFC. Let's get into the main event. Antonio Rodriguez, Jared Gooden, 53 pro fights between them.
Just lost the main event, right? We lost Adriano. Staph infection got bad all of a sudden. He said it was nothing, and then it got really, really bad. Couldn't fight. Not gonna risk a fighter's health ever. So we had to withdraw him from the bout. We're working on a replacement. We're on the standby. We might have some amazing news of who is stepping in. So for right now, we're just crossing our fingers and praying to God, But the rest of the card is the same, stacked.
Let's talk about the co-main event. Christian Lawson, Nate Williams, two ground specialists. What was the idea behind pairing these two together?
Fucking fireworks. I just want to see fireworks. I want to, it's not a lot. There's a big rumor about me that I don't like the ground. I love the ground when it's action related. You're either trying to finish the guy with strikes or with submissions. I'm a huge fan of this, And these are guys that are going for finishing constantly, so I want to see what happens. Who's the better guy on the ground? So one of those guys is going to get signed to a big league like this, We're just giving him the platform to springboard and do that quick. If he comes out here and does his job tomorrow, there'll be enough eyeballs to get him signed off, So that's what's on the line for these guys.
Christian Lawson, a guy who he can land a banana split finish. He's done it at Island Fights. He hits it for PFL. How impressive is when you see a guy using a maneuver of that high caliber?
Nuts, because it's one, not too many people know that move, so it's in your career you might not experience that move that you have to defend it that many times, because nobody could really hit that move good, and if there's one guy that could hit it good in an MMA gym, he's far and few in between, Not that it's not a dangerous move, it's just not that common of a move. So to have that move at a world-class level, it's definitely something to have up your sleeve.
We have a couple big pro MMA debuts on this card. Anthony Cassar, Penn State wrestling standout. How excited are you to be able to have a card that has him making his debut on it?
Oh, I love it, man. Big wrestling fan, big collegiate wrestling fan. Love freestyle as well, but I really love my collegiate wrestling. So watched him as well since like his sophomore year, I've been watching Bo for a long time. Guys that I've just freaking said, man, these guys are the next level of wrestling, and they go out there and prove that, So now to have this guy that I never would have thought when I was watching him wrestle, winning titles, that he was going to fight. And then I come to find out he does want to fight. From like the fanboy in me, is like, you got to come fight for me, man, whether it's your first or your last, but you got to come fight for me at one point. But be it your debut and stuff, and I could give you as much hype as I can, why not, make the biggest fights happen,
Another guy making his professional MMA debut, former FSU standout, Mr. Reggie Northrup. How do you think the Florida crowd is going to handle him?
Oh, they're going to love him, man. And more than anything, I think crowds all over will love him because he's just a goer. He's a violent guy, and people like violence, The individuals that like the sport. If you watch like soccer and other things, maybe not, but if you watch MMA, you like violence, and he's this guy that's athletic and violent. Mark my words, he's trying to hurt guys and finish them, He's got like a mean streak in him.
In the past, before your different fight cards, you always say that you have themes for each show. In Savannah in August, it was the Young Guns. What is the theme for this one?
It's kind of young guns versus some established guys mixed in there with, we're going to call this theme, who's hungriest, man? The hungriest dog will win. That's it, Because there's some cards that I could be like, oh, there's experience on this side against youth. But, at the end of the day, that's what fighting is amazing. Who wants it more?
Jorge, how much fun are you having acting as a matchmaker and having your own promotion?
I love it, All my thoughts and theories as a promoter. Write them down on paper, then I run them by Dean, and Dean's like, no, yes, no, and we do that, and then, that thought becomes a fact, an actual thing. Now it's here. Now we're in this arena about to fucking throw down, so it's amazing, that it came off from here, from me and my partner's idea, and we throw it out, and then just so happens people are starting to get behind it, and they like the fights that we're putting together. So guess what? We're going to keep doing what we've been doing and bringing you the most young, up-and-coming, violent dudes out there.
All right, last question, Jorge. Why should people tune in tomorrow?
You should tune in tomorrow if you want to see something violent. You want to see good mixed martial arts competitors versus each other stacked even. I'm trying to get the best guy versus the best guy in the country at that weight class. within reason, right? I'm not gonna put a 2-0 guy against a 22 and fucking 4 guy. You know, I want it to like make sense, but I'm trying to get the most competitive fights for each one of those guys at their stage, at their level, and let them fight. You know, and then there's a couple fights that I won't. There's like 2 or 3 fights that I won't be surprised they went to the big leagues. UFC called them. Bellator called them, one of them. So that's really my plan, is just to get as many guys as I can, exposure, and fucking, you give me good fights in return, man.
All right, well, I wish best luck for you guys tomorrow. That's Jorge Masvidal. I'm Carlo Prusa. Stay tuned to Carlo Prusa MMA.